So that right there is the Duddon Valley, and it is early May and it's 1 degree currently, so it's one of those winter straggler mornings. There was frost and ice on the cars and I just left the car park 20 minutes ago. Since then the sun has risen over the Harter Fells and it's warmed up quite a bit. I can feel the heat from that sun on my face, which is rather pleasant. So I'll be able to take this winter kit off momentarily. So I'm currently walking out of the Duddon Valley up towards Hardknott Pass. From Hardknott Pass I'm going to hike up to Hardknott and have a mooch around there for a little while. After Hardknott I will venture on down to the old Roman Fort, which is just off the Hardknott Pass, before clambering up to Harter Fell and having a mooch around there. Harter Fell, one of my favourite places in the Lake District. One of the finest viewing platforms in the Lake District, no question. If you like pointing your camera at the Scar Fells, there's probably not a better place to do it than Harter Fell. So yes, again, I am on the search for vistas. I am vista searching. So these ones promise to be quite good, even in horrendous weather conditions like this. But first, I must negotiate this forestry track. There are a few sections of path on this walk today that I have not done before, so it'll be a little bit of an adventure. Harter Fell, obviously, it's a photographer's paradise, so I've been up there many times, probably a dozen times maybe. Yeah, it's one of my favourite places. Hardknott I've been before as well, but there are some of the little crags around Hardknott that I'm going to have a mooch around that I've not seen before. I am essentially vista searching, looking for vistas. So wish me luck. Harter Fell up there, where I will be in a few hours. It's currently very early, just after 6 a.m. So, and it's a weekday, so I shouldn't imagine it'll be that busy today. I might even find a nice quiet ledge somewhere and have a nap if the weather is favourable. Yeah, obviously we've been having a bit of a heat wave lately for this time of year, and no rain really. Just record breaking temperatures for the beginning of May and for April. But today is supposedly going to be a little bit cooler, so I'm not complaining about that. I'm not great with the sun, if I'm being honest. Hiking in like 24 degrees is not my idea of fun. Dale Crag up there, where I was a couple of months ago when I did the Coniston Fells. I'll just get to the top of this path here and derobe a little bit. Right, I've just reached the gate where I would normally turn left and head up Harter Fell straight away, or if I was coming down that way, I would head through that gate normally and head back to the car. But today I'm not going that way. I'm going to Hardknott first, so that's over here. I think what I will do is take this jacket off finally. Right. Right, so that's better. Onwards. So, that's Hardknott, the fell, up there somewhere. Actual summit is out of sight, obviously, but it's there. Just down here, you can see it maybe running across here. It goes down there slightly. That is an old Roman road. Yeah, long since abandoned, obviously, except for sheep and fell walkers. But yeah, the original Roman road actually ran through this little valley here and down there towards the farm at Cockley Beck, I think it is. Yeah, you can see it there. So it was either this coming along here or that track coming along down there and over there. I'd put my betting on that second one there because it's straighter. The thing with Roman roads is, much like today, they probably had their motorways and their A roads and their B roads. Well, I mean, I know that as a fact, they did. So this wasn't one of their motorways, this was probably one of their A roads. It was a road between forts, so it had, significant importance and would have seen a lot of traffic. And they were generally wide enough to have two horses and carts pass each other without having to pull over. That would be their motorways. But obviously in terrain like this, you couldn't have that all the time. You would have to have like single track with some passing places, much like they do today. You can see it coming down here very clearly. And there, down there. looks like a normal just path, doesn't it? But nope. This was a main road at one point. Shipping goods between the two forts, at Ambleside and down there. Right, so we'll follow this Roman road for a little while. Just a little while. You might get the first glimpse of the fort in a moment. I mean, in quite a lot of places you can see it very clearly, even with 2,000 years of weather and erosion. In other places it's gone completely, either via slippage, landslide, water, but you can pick it up in quite a few places. In fact, I intend to do just that in the not too distant future. Do some Roman road trips. So, yeah. So the Roman fort is just down there. Doesn't look like much from here, but it's massive when you're there. So this Roman road here joins up with the modern Hardknott Pass and the tarmac. Yes. Okay, but yeah, that's where it went. I can see a person up there, I think. Burke's Bridge, 2 miles. So, the Roman road carried on down there towards Ambleside and the fort there. But me, now I'm heading up here. Hardknott as the fell. Look at that Dublin Valley down there. Magnificent. Yeah. Yeah, considering it was so cold this morning, even, well, an hour ago, it's roasting now. Yeah. Need to take this fleece off. So, Scarfells in view now. Only the top of them though. When we get to the top of Hardknott, we'll see all of them. So, I'm in no rush today. I'm just kind of having a leisurely stroll. Okay, so this is Hardknott just here. Let's get up there. Okay. There's the cairn over there. There we are. Ah. Hardknott. Oh, that was close. Gosh, nearly backed it then. Don't want that. The summit cairn of Hardknott. There we go. Not a cloud in the sky. So, it's definitely not a photograph, but it is a vista. I think you'll agree. Wow. Yeah. So I was here a year ago, I think, just over a year ago, and it looks remarkably similar to back then. Would you believe it? Ah, yeah. A lot later in the day though. If I come here, it's usually sunrise or sunset. This is far too much light. Yeah, so I'm just looking at that slog I did up Penn the other day. That was a slog, that. Not exactly safe either, I have to say. See, I can't take a time lapse of this. There's just nothing going on weather-wise. All that I'm thinking about right now are the ghosts of Dalmatia, which I'll tell you about in a little while. All will be revealed. Harter Fell over there. Yeah, I mean, as much as the view is great here, I think the view from Harter Fell is better. Yeah, I'm not even sure this even works as a vista, really. It's kind of a bit too close. I mean, it does, but of course it does. I mean, look at it. But the view from Harter Fell is better because it's just set back a little bit. Wainwright even thought the view further back still at Green Crag was better than Harter Fell. Yeah, he might be right. I've got a couple of good shots from Green Crag. It's all subjective. So, May is one of the great months to hike in the Lake District, I think. It's not just because it's like spring, it's because there's a period straight after Easter, before June, where the lakes just goes really, really quiet. Really, really quiet. After the bank holidays and the Easter hauls, which are obviously packed, just after that, it goes really quiet for about 3 or 4 weeks before the tourists all start to turn up again en masse in June, July and August. So May, it's always that time of year where you bump into other hikers and they always say, God, isn't it quiet? Isn't it quiet? It won't be next week though, will it? Yeah, it's that time of year. There's another month, September. September is the other month as well, where everyone's just gone back to school. And it goes very quiet in the legs. But I can't see anyone. Can't even see any tents. All quiet on the western front. Okay, border end. Just there. Right, border end. So I mean I can bag this because it's not a Wainwright. Don't know what it is. Might be a Burkitt or one of the others, but I backed it anyway. Wow. Well, no great revelations from up here so far. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can see the Hardknott Pass. As I said earlier, Hardknott Pass is an old Roman road, but the original Roman road deviates quite a lot from the modern tarmac road. The tarmac road going down here, but going up there, it turns off and you can see the Roman road going up there. Kind of, you can clearly see it. It's even after 2,000 years. Yeah, it's quite impressive. So down there you can just see the edge of the Roman fort. So let's go over here and see if we can get a proper view of it. So I hope this can show up in the camera, but a very clear view of it from up here. So there it is. Down there is an old Roman fort, clear as day. Well, yet again I'm thinking about the ghosts of Dalmatia. What are the ghosts of Dalmatia, I hear you say? Well, they're not real ghosts. I don't believe in real ghosts. Although, you know, people do see ghosts. They think they're seeing ghosts. So, I suppose in some respects they do exist, don't they? Harter Fell, looking mighty. So the path I'm taking up Harter Fell starts from beyond the fort down there and it goes up in like the terrace. So I've not done that route before. Looking forward to that. Yeah, so the reason I'm going on about ghosts of Dalmatia is because the Roman auxiliaries that built it were from the Dalmatian coast in Croatia. So the fort was built between 120 and 138 AD on a rocky spur and was initially garrisoned by a detachment of the cohorts 4th Dalmatarum from the Dalmatian coast in modern-day Croatia. It was abandoned around a decade later, then reoccupied circa 200 and remained in use for much of the next 2 centuries. So The Romans had a port at Ravenglass. That was their main port on the west coast for a while, and this fort formed part of the supply chain. When the Romans were pushing north up towards Scotland, Hadrian's Wall, so grain used to come off the ships here. It would make its way along Hardknott Pass to Ambleside, the fort at Ambleside, where there was a grain store there. It was like the grain depot for the whole region. And then supplies would go further on, up north, over High Street probably, to the fort at Penrith. And then from Penrith up to Carlisle. Carlisle became quite an important Roman city on Hadrian's Wall, basically. And then of course you have all the forts on Hadrian's Wall. Oswald's one of them. So you can imagine this supply chain running all the way to Oswald, Carlisle. And of course, it would have been heavily fortified for those first 10 years because the Romans didn't have an easy time in Cumbria, shall we say, or in Wales. The locals just weren't really having the Romans, to be honest. They were very resistant. They resisted the longest, unlike the Southerners, who after the Boadician revolt pretty much worked with the Romans, really. You know, Roman villas sprang up pretty quickly. The local chieftains thought, yeah, I might buy into this Roman business and get myself a villa with a mosaic. Whereas up here it was just forts, which says that the Romans were always slightly defensive up in the north. So that fort was abandoned after 10 years as the Romans pushed further up into Scotland. And I think they nearly subjugated the whole of Scotland. They were very close to doing it. And then something happened on the continent and they had to withdraw some troops to go and sort out some business. So the Romans had to retreat back to Hadrian's Wall, at which point that fort was reoccupied. And a vicus is the Roman word for village. A village sprang up outside the walls, all around the outside of the walls, because professional armies have coin, spare coin, they get paid. So soldiers with spare money, I'm sure a few pubs sprang up. I'm sure all manner of services were available in that little village around there. Farmers and whatnot, tradesmen, beer makers, wine makers. Little local economy. Yeah, it's kind of, there's actually a parade ground, I can see it from here. The parade ground was as big as the fort itself. So down here on this side, the parade ground is down here, but you down there on this side, on the south side of the fort, would have been the Roman road coming down. You can see it down here. So the Roman road is quite away from the modern tarmac road, but you can see it very clearly the way it curves around. So, I've done a lot of reading over the years. I'm nearly 50 years old now, half a century, so that's a lot of research that I've done. So, I am quite, I do have a certain amount of knowledge on this subject. So, I know which bits are Roman road, for instance, and which bits are not. So, carry on down here, and in a minute we will pick up the Roman road that I came off earlier and head down north instead of south. So, we are back at the Roman road, and you can see it coming down very clearly. So we've come down here and carried on down here, following this tarmac for a little while. So there you can see now the fort, straight ahead, centre of screen. Ghosts of Dalmatia. I'm just trying to picture myself as a Roman legionary marching down here towards the fort, and a good night out. Yeah, the beer back then was a lot stronger than it is now. As was the wine, a lot stronger. So they used to have to water it down. They would start drinking wine early, watered down, and as the day progressed they would water it down less and less. Seems logical to me. Motorbike rider ruining my shot down there. Well, at least he adds a little bit of scale. So if I get my glasses on, I'll try and point a few things out. It's difficult for me to see. See the fort there. Up here, that flat bit across, that flat bit of ground above it, a bit. That's the parade ground. And cutting down here is the old road. Oh, let's get a bit closer. Yes, it's just, I mean, I have been to this fort before, but I parked at the base of it and then just walked up. I've never approached it on foot like this. You know, I've driven down here many dozens of times in a car, but yeah, it's one of those roads. It's actually potentially the most dangerous road in the country, so you really do have to have your wits about you, concentrate. In fact, when I had my truck, this hairpin, you could barely get around the corner because it's such a tight bend. You know, it was treacherous, especially in the winter, even in a four-wheel drive. Got this little viewing platform. Okay, so there's the hairpin. So there you can see the fort, parade ground. Now this is Roman road underneath here, but instead of following the hairpin, it used to carry straight on. So they've dug out this hairpin, but the road used to carry on straight up there and then across to the south side of the fort where the main gate was. So yes, you can see this hairpin goes down quite low. It would have carried straight on, the ground would have been flat here. They've dug all this out to create the hairpin. So, you know, a lot can happen in a couple of thousand years. But this is it. This is the road. It's not as in good condition as back there, but this is it, I assure you. Yeah, so you can see the high bend from there. Coming down there with a bit of ice. Not good. If you go down there, you can roll all the way down to the bottom if you're not careful. People have done so. So, see, over a couple of thousand years, a lot of erosion has happened and the land has slipped in places. So you can't really see it, but you can kind of see it in certain places. They were here for several hundred years, you know. And what soldiers do in their off time, they don't really have off time. To keep the discipline, they're basically put to work at all times, you know. So they would have been working on infrastructure all the time, and I bet they got this place looking quite swell, as Clark Kent might say. You know, back then the road would have been a proper road and well maintained. Now it's a bit knackered. The parade ground is up there. So what to do? Should I carry on following the old road up into the main entrance, or should I go up onto the parade ground up there and go at it from there? I'm going to go into the parade ground. So, yeah, you can see the banks, all man-made, this bank here. Wow, look how flat that is. That is incredible. Jeez. I mean, look at it. How many Romans have stood on this little viewing platform, I wonder? Jeez. So there's the fort, obviously. We're panning round, and you can see the scale of this massive, flat parade ground in front of you. So I wonder if there was the main road, there would have been another road going up along there as well, behind those rocks, coming down. Remember, all this area around here surrounding it was a village, a vicus. So, you know, there would have been hundreds of people here all the time. You know, at some points thousands. There's worse places to live, isn't there? There's worse places to be stationed. This was, to the Romans, like their version of the Wild West. You know, it was a kind of bit of a thing to be stationed in Britannia for a while. So you can clearly picture it, can't you? I can anyway. My imagination is good. But yes, this whole area would have been even flatter back then. You know, some of the edges sloped a little bit, but not much, still flat. And all of this would have been the garrison parade ground. Huts, little huts, here and there dotted around. Stables. You know, down here there would have been a village, as I said, a vicus. You know, this place would have been a real hive of activity. You know, you're not messing around if you are putting all these hours into creating a parade ground in a place like this. And it just shows you how strategically important this supply route was going towards Ambleside. So yeah, you can imagine all this. This would have been a little street going through a village. And this wall, these walls are obviously significantly lower than what they would have been. They would have been a lot higher than this. 5 metres, and there would have been towers on them as well. Let's go in, see if anyone's home. Some sheep. So you can clearly see the remains of the towers. One there, one over there, yeah, in the corner. All still very much there. And these are just the foundations of the various permanent structures. This is the granary. Originally, they would have looked like that. All forts were provided with granaries to store the grain which formed the main part of the soldiers' diet, although this was supplemented with a wide range of meat, vegetables, fruit and beer. Here there are 2 granary buildings, both with access from the Via Principalis, or main street. These long buildings had thick outer walls which were heavily buttressed, presumably to support the weight of their superstructure, and slate roof. The grain was probably stored in sacks or bins and had to be kept dry. This was achieved by providing the buildings with raised wooden floors supported on rows of piers, which you can still see, to allow good ventilation. So that was the main entrance, I believe. Headquarters building. this is the headquarters building. Principia. This was the most important building within the fort and occupied a central position at the junction of the two main roads. Its southeastern entrance gave access to a small open courtyard surrounded by a veranda. Beyond this lay a hall running the full length of the building. Towards the northeastern right-hand end of this hall, a short protecting wall represents the remains of a tribunal, a platform from which the commanding officer would have given orders for the day and officiated over ceremonial and official occasions. Immediately northwest of this hall was a range of 3 rooms, the outer 2 of which were probably the pay and records offices. So this is the central courtyard. So I mean, I imagine there was a load of decking, you know. It looks very uneven, but you know, they were clever buggers, the Romans. They would have evened things out. I can imagine a lot of timber buildings on sticks, poles, flat and even, with decking, planks of decking. All gone now, all rotted away, obviously. The West Gate. So there you can see one of the towers, the foundations rather, of one of the towers. So down there is a bathhouse, I think. Let's go and have a look. Yes, so this is the main gate. It would have looked like this. The southeastern gateway is the main entrance into the fort. The road running through it, the Via Praetoria, led straight to the headquarters building. The gate had double portals and was originally built using red sandstone. The guardhouse may have been positioned above the gateways, reached from the wall walk which ran around the inside of the parapet. During excavations in the 1960s, several fragments of a stone inscription were found in front of this gateway. The stone would originally have been set into the gateway between its 2 portals, and its text tells us that the fort was built during the reign of Emperor Hadrian, 117 to 138 AD, by a cohort of troops from Dalmatia, present-day Croatia. My ghosts of Dalmatia. So basically all this part of the supply train, the baggage train, the logistics, the supply routes, all providing logistics for the pointy end up at Hadrian's Wall, pushing north into Caledonia. Yeah. Okay. So, you're Ned Stark's bastard. The bathhouse, yes. Huh. Wow. Are you a Roman sheep? Bear. Bear. Strength and honour. Strength and honour. At my signal, unleash hell. At my signal, unleash wool. Okay. Commander of the armies of the north, the Felix legions. I served with you at Vindolanda. People should know when they're conquered. Would you, Quintus? Would I? Okay, that's enough fun and games. Let's get up Harter Fell. Let's get back on. Let's get back on the trail. Head down here now to the foot of Harter Fell, and I've got to get up there. And yes, this is all new to me, this bit. This is going to be a much heftier climb than what I'm used to going up Harter Fell from down here, because this path starts pretty much at sea level. 2,000 feet, a little bit over 2,000 feet. Up. Usually when I go up Harter Fell, as I said, I go from the other side. There's three main routes on the other side of the fell, and they all start at the car park. And the car park is kind of a good way up the fell side compared to this. I would say that car park's at about 500 feet above sea level, maybe more, I don't know. What this is basically sea level. So I've got quite a hefty climb in front of me, but this is one of the fun bits, because I've never been up this path before, so looking forward to it. New thing, new part of the walk, new part of the Lake District. ESKDALE, 3 miles. Oh, that's quite cute. Right. I'm definitely going to have to take off some layers now before I attempt this. Okay, so it's just up there. A couple more 100 feet to go. Let's go. Well, there's the summit cairn. I don't need to bag it. I've been up here about 12 times. Let's go and find somewhere to sit. Let's have a look at this vista. This is the real reason why I'm here. Look at that. Look at that. Majestic. So, it's actually a little bit chilly up here. Let's put some coat on. So, I've taken a couple of time lapses, and I even had a little nap whilst I was doing it. But I'm going to head off to Demming Crag now, which is a bit low down, and try and get some more time lapses down there because the view might be just as good down there. So let's go and have a look at it. Right, good to go. Well, I'm loving this place. This heather in the August for something worth looking at. Demming Crag. Let's have a look at this. Wow. I mean, that's difficult to beat, isn't it? Good grief. That is a vista. What I'm sure of, he began, is that you can't be happy without money. That's all. I don't like superficiality, and I don't like romanticism. I like to be conscious, and what I've noticed is that there's a kind of spiritual snobbery in certain superior beings who think that money isn't necessary for happiness, which is stupid, which is false, and to a certain degree, cowardly. Over the wall stretched the branches of a sweet-smelling willow. Through the gate he could make out big brown stones lying among the weeds. It was the old Jewish cemetery of Prague. A moment later, Mersault realised he had been running and was now in the square in front of the old town hall. Near his hotel, he had to lean against a wall and vomit, retching painfully. With all the lucidity extreme weakness affords, he managed to reach his room without making any mistakes, went to bed and fell asleep at once. Yeah, this one's difficult to beat. I think we have a winner. Demming Crag. So far. What a vista. I think you will agree. Breathtaking views all the way down. I'm all wrapped up because it's got quite cold and windy. So, yeah, I'll just kind of stay warm. Put some layers on. It's warming up a bit now. I'm getting lower down, but so my thoughts return again to those Roman auxiliaries, the Dalmatians, and they must have been coming up here. They must have in their downtown. I bet my life on it. Why wouldn't you? A bit of peace and quiet, away from the confines of a wooden hut in a fort. Come up here and get some bagging done. Maybe they made cairns first. Who knows? Pan round here, you will see a very good shot of the Roman Fort coming into view, centre of screen right now. That's where I was earlier. Nice vista to end the day on. Very strange. Looks like some sort of alien world. Wow. Incredible place. Yeah. Amazing. There's not much going on with the weather, otherwise I'd get my camera out, but yeah, another time. One last shot of the Roman fort, and the home of the 4th cohort, Dalmatia. So this old wall here essentially runs along what was the old Roman road. So that farm track down there in a straight line is the old Roman road. The straightness of it is a bit of a giveaway, but that's really it. And I'm following around to the end of it, and then I'll be breaking off, connecting up down there where the farm is, and then going up there. And that is where the Roman road goes, towards Ambleside. But just at this fence line down here, this wall is about as far as I'm going to follow it, as I'm going to swing a right and head down towards the river. Well, it carries on down there. I'm going to go that way down there. So I'm back in the Dublin Valley now. And what a valley to end my walking. Maybe my favourite valley in the Lake District. But all I'm thinking about now is a pint